And hence one's legal background has no bearing, because one has to start from scratch and do justice to the syllabus, do justice to the PYQs, and hence every individual can actually take it up. Because law does, in terms of the number of candidates appearing and successful, law has one of the highest success rates. You were not only very motivating back then that it is manageable and it seems huge but it isn't, because there is a direction to the madness, but you also provided immense support with the kind of notes that you provided, and very personalized, extremely high quality notes that I genuinely refer to. And after that I got in touch with Jekrit sir, and he played a solid role in analyzing my answer sheets. I remember still that around 11 p.m. he would sit with me on calls and sort of tell me कि इस आंसर में ये खराब है, इसको ऐसा लिखो, and he was very harsh and I would not take that in the right spirit back then, but my results proved as to why he was that harsh. I just randomly accessed the DNS video back then, and it was such a revelation for me, because very basic understanding of the subject along with linkage with the UPSC syllabus.
Hello everyone, here we have Priyanka Priyadarshini, All India rank 387, and she has cleared her civil services examination and law was her optional subject. Hello Priyanka, congratulations and welcome to Rao's IAS.
Thank you, sir.
So Priyanka, tell me how you have been feeling after your result is out. What's your general feeling about this grand success you're having?
So I've been feeling extremely elated. It has been a long journey of 5 years. I've started preparing since 2019 after my graduation in law, and ever since I think the journey has been full of ups and downs, more downs than up, to be honest. So very happy to see my name in the list finally.
Okay.
Feeling extremely grateful.
Great. So talking about your journey, going back 5 years, so why did you decide to take law in your graduation? What was the idea behind it?
So if I can remember correctly, back in my 11th and 12th, when I was choosing to go for a career next, my primary motivation has been firstly to choose a career that I can do justice to.
Sure.
And so my biggest inspiration in my life has been my grandfather, and he was a lawyer.
Okay.
And so while having that family discussion as to what I should do next, he sort of maybe saw some traits in me that he had himself, and he pushed me in that direction, because back in 2012, 13 and 14, law was not a much sought after career, and the clerk was just taking off.
Yeah.
Yes. So yes, that is my parental guidance and family motivation. Secondly, I was convinced that that is a career that I can do justice to. Had some interest in law, and so finally decided to pursue.
Was civil services at any point of time while deciding your graduation?
No, sir. Civil services was not in my mind while I was deciding a career choice for myself. I just wanted to do my best in whatever career I take up. So civil services came up much later, while I was again then in my 3rd or 4th year of law school, when I was looking at various options, finished a couple of internships and knew what the various career options available to me looked like. It is only then that I finally zeroed in on civil services.
So that was in which year? 3rd year, 4th year, 5th
So
year?
it was in my 4th year, right before sitting for placements. I did sit for placements, but even then, before sitting for placements, I finally made up my mind that probably this is what I want.
So when, as you said, you decided in 4th year before sitting for your placements, what was your approach at that point of time to know about the civil services, particularly the law optional? How did you approach? Did you find out, through seniors, through friends, or what was your approach in general?
Sir, in my 4th year when I decided to do civil services, I was very sure that I'm going to take law optional, because in my entire course of my career up till then, I was very comfortable with the subject. I had a lot of interest in it, and I really enjoyed studying law. And so, law and knowing more about law optional other than the syllabus was not my priority back then. What baffled me was the other aspect, which is GS or prelims. Those things scared me because those were things I had not read about, and that was not my comfort zone. So I read about the syllabus. After looking at the syllabus, I felt like majority of it is something that I am acquainted with, so I can do justice to it. So that was all that I did after in law school.
So how was your transition from studying law in your university for your exam, let's say your semester examination, and then knowing the fact that okay, I will be taking law as my optional for UPSC. So how was that transition in terms of knowledge and also the quality which was required at UPSC level?
Sure, sir. So in college, we are focused a lot on clearing the semester exams.
True.
And also on one subject at a time. The focus is very focused and also a little parochial because you're just focusing on the syllabus, the question papers, the kind of questions which are asked, and also gaining a lot of subject depth. However, UPSC requires you to juggle with a lot of subjects at once, a lot of papers at once, and so focus has to shift from gaining a lot of mastery over every subject to gaining a lot of a consolidated approach, as in knowing every subject properly and gaining a uniform idea about every subject. So I think my approach changed from doing one thing extremely well to doing broadly well in each and everything and consolidating the knowledge that I've acquired.
Okay, talking about law in general, there is a perception generally among the law students, both 5 years law and 3 years law, that law is a very cumbersome syllabus, very lengthy syllabus, and we don't get enough marks in the options. And at times, even best of the law graduates do hesitate to take law as their optional in first civil services. So, what is your suggestion and guidance to such students, particularly to all the law graduates who are studying right now throughout the country?
So with reference to civil services examination, so the first thing that I believe that studying a 5-year course or a 3-year course or the university or college that one studies from has absolutely no role to play in the kind of performance that you can have with respect to law options.
Sure.
Because UPSC purely has a unique way of looking at every candidate, and one can know that unique way through the previous year's question papers, and that is available to each and every individual. So that can form a very good insight to every candidate.
Sure.
And hence one's legal background has no bearing because one has to start from scratch and do justice to the syllabus, do justice to the PYQs, and hence every individual can actually take it up and one's college or university or that should not have a bearing. Rather, what should have a bearing is firstly one's interest in the subject.
True.
One should be highly interested to study half of their every day and continue to study after one's 3-year, 5-year course is completed, continue to study law for a considerable amount of time until one clears. Secondly, sir, also there are various other optionals available which are doing
Sure.
very well, and appropriate amount of guidance is also available. So if one is in need of guidance with respect to their optional, then one should take up some option that suits them,
Sure.
probably PSI or sociology, wherever guidance is available.
Yes, absolutely.
So that is second part, if whether one is...
So what you are saying is that the first and the most important thing is interest, and the second thing is guidance.
Yes.
So these two things students should look into,
Yes,
right?
sir.
So in that sense, what is your suggestion and guidance to such students, who currently, let's say, are studying in third year, or those who are doing 3 years law degree program, let's say, who are in their second year. So what is your suggestion to those kind of students who are willing to take law as their optional subject, but are hesitating because of this perception that law syllabus is too lengthy, or we don't get enough marks? So what is your suggestion?
Sir, I would like to start by saying that there are toppers in each and every optional, and number of people taking up an optional also determines the number of candidates you see coming out successful.
Yes.
So because law doesn't have as many students taking it up, hence the success ratio might seem disproportionate, but it is extremely faulty because law does, in terms of the number of candidates appearing and successful, law has one of the highest success rates, one of the highest. And
also because very less students take
yes,
it.
yes.
Absolutely.
That is also one of the reasons to be factored in. But for the candidates who are in two minds about it, that should not be the deciding criteria, is why I'm highlighting this thing. Secondly, sir, about the thing you mentioned, that what my advice would be to the people in the third year, fourth year. Sir, I think they should start by deciding for themselves. They should not be swayed by what is going on in the market or what is the general opinion of any other candidate from other field. They should look at the PYQs, they should gauge their interest, and then they should make an informed choice. Also factoring into the aspect that law has an overlapping element with the GS subjects as well, which is polity, which is such an important subject in prelims, mains, GS paper 2. So taking up law will help not only in the optional itself, it can also have a very positive impact in prelims and mains.
Absolutely.
So just taking a holistic view and being very personal about it, because it is a personal choice and it differs from candidate to candidate. So rather than going by what I say, the candidates should make up the decision for themselves.
Sure. So when you thought ki now I have to take law and I have to start my preparation, so what were the subsequent changes you made during your entire journey of civil services so far, particularly for law optional? Was there any change in terms of approach? Did you learn more with every year? As in, how did you perceive law as an optional? Yeah, at any point did you feel ki nahi, it's not working for me, I should change my optional? Did you ever feel that way?
Sir, actually never. That is, law has been one constant in my entire preparation. I think that was one of the major deciding factors for me to do UPSC.
Okay.
That because two papers I have to worry a little less about. So, I mean, I can go ahead and give this exam because the rest of it is going to be generalistic. That was my opinion prior to taking this subject. But as and when my UPSC journey progressed, there were different revelations, and I think I was proven wrong also, because I think the major reason for my non-selection last year was law, because of the kind of approach that I had towards the subject. So I would say I overhauled my approach this year. So prior to taking this attempt, my approach was gain as much knowledge as you can, read as many books as you can, all the books, that big fat books that you read in college, MP Jain, VN Shukla, everything I did for Consti, and all of that backfired like crazy, because the 5 days before the mains examination, I was surrounded by notes and I did not know what I remember, what I do not. So my major approach in 2023 attempt was to consolidate everything, have really crisp notes for each and every subject, and just revise them as many times as possible.
Any suggestion to students on this regard?
Sir, yes.
For last 5 days?
Yes, sir. Sir, I believe FOMO is real. Everyone feels like there is so much material out there, so they want to read everything that out there is. Especially law students, I feel, because we are so used to reading books and
Yes,
notes.
absolutely.
We find it really hard to restrain that urge of not reading and containing. So I believe biggest advice would be to have really crisp notes that one can revise at least 3 times in the 5 days. So if one can stick to that approach, I believe law has a great amount of overlap from PYQs and from the syllabus. So one can gain really good, reap really great benefits out of it.
Okay, talking about law as an optional, what are the positives which you can talk about it? And also the challenges. Let's not, forget the challenges, because the challenges are real. Let's say if someone is not able to clear with law, let's say for example, God forbid it doesn't happen to anyone, but let's say in the real life, if someone is not able to clear, does it really help studying law in such detail, considering law has such varied or multi-dimensional approach in terms of career choices? What do you think, or what do you feel on this?
I agree, sir. Law is a very multidimensional field. One can do whatever one feels like depending on their skill set. If one is great in, say, oratory, one can take up litigation, or the research, fields of research is available. And then a lot of good lawyers are taking up policy research as well. And then there are law firms very lucrative in terms of
Yes,
their
of course.
packages. And and then judiciary, last but not the least.
Exactly.
A good mix of everything. So law, not just civil services.
Yes.
Civil services is one of the aspects, but I think there are multifarious opportunities available to legal professionals, especially lately. And law is such an upcoming field. Developments taking place literally every day. So I think gaining that knowledge will not just help in terms of career, but as an individual and a citizen, You become extremely informed, and for yourself and for the society. So you become an asset to the society overall. So I believe it is one of the better career options available.
All right. Okay, from career choices to your struggles with respect to particular subjects, because it's possible that some students, someone's constitutional law is better, someone's contract is better, but it's not possible that all the students they excel in all the subjects at all the time. So in that sense, how have been your struggle coping up with different syllabus, or rather different subjects, because the syllabus is actually very vast in that sense?
Sir, you mentioned about the challenges that this field has. So I would like to answer that along with this. Sir, the major challenge that is available is firstly, there is no one set of notes that is there that you can read and feel confident about going into the exam hall. Not yet available for law, which is quite the case with various other optionals that there is. So you have to actually struggle and make those set of notes for yourself. Sit and struggle and read and basically make those notes. So that is one big challenge that there is, to prepare those consolidated set of notes, because there is no ready reference, ready recorder available. Few guidance material like Dukkis are there, however they are still very lengthy if you see the nature of the exam. So that is one. Secondly, in terms of say the subjects, I believe maximum challenge I faced in two areas of law. One is international law, another is CLD. International law, because sir, it is a very underrated subject in law school.
Yes.
People, or if I speak of me individually, did not pay attention to it in law school. Very less relatability to that subject.
That is the problem with that subject, because student feels ki what's use of it, unless and until someone is determined, okay, I'll be practicing, let's say world trade, international trade affairs and all those things.
Yes, sir. So, which is why I had a tough time wrapping my mind around that subject, preparing notes and all of that. And also, you do not find one book where the entire UPSC syllabus is concentrated for international law. So, you have to refer to multiple sources.
Yes.
You have to refer to the internet. So, you are a little bit baffled by, overwhelmed basically, by how to go about it. So, that is one. Secondly, so CLD, contemporary legal developments. And the syllabus, if you see, it looks very short, but
it is not.
It opens up a Pandora's box.
I think that was the first time when you talked with me and
Yes.
we were having that conversation. You were really worried. I said, don't worry, I'll provide you something as far as possible. As in, at that point of time, whatever legal developments took place. I think last year it was.
Yes,
right?
sir. So last year, I remember after my results, when I was thinking how to change my approach, one of the major changes that I made was focus on CLD.
Yes.
Because if one sees the PYQs, almost every long question, has one question from CLD. And so I spoke to you regarding that I am extremely overwhelmed as to how to go about this, and I could really do with some help. You were not only very motivating back then that it is manageable, and it seems huge, but it isn't, because there is a direction to the madness. But you also provided immense support with the kind of notes that you provided, and very personalized, extremely high quality notes that I genuinely refer to, and they were helpful.
In fact, those notes I have referred to my students also.
Yes. So I think you started off with me and a couple of students who were taking that optional, and so feel extremely privileged that I was one of the first person. Thank you so much.
So much gratitude.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. So on that note, in general, what is your suggestion to all the law students, law graduates, and also those students preparing for civil services, still wondering whether to take law as their optional or not? And if they have taken, any suggestion, any guidance for motivation as such?
Sir, very balanced view. One should decide for oneself the kind of option that one wants to take, but there are positives and negatives both, and I think in the entire course of conversation I have inadvertently highlighted both. I took up law because of interest and because I could study it, and it was the highest amount of comfort zone subject that I could see in the entire list of optional. But students should have a very balanced perspective. They should check in with their strengths and weaknesses. It is not an unworkable subject. It is not a low scoring subject that will prevent you from getting into the list. It is something that people do. It does require immense amount of hard work, probably a little bit more than what you would see in certain other subjects, because of the lack of notes which are there. One would have to sit and toil and do that. However, I believe that one should sit and analyze one's strengths and weaknesses and not be swayed by superficial things as in what is going on in the market or which option is the most scoring. Those things have very little to do when you have to sit and toil in solitude and prepare your notes and give appear for the exam. You have to have that comfort zone and that rapport with the subject. So that.
Talking about law, how much is it? How much is the overlap not only with respect to GS2 but also GS4? This is what I keep hearing. So, what do you think? What has been your experience so far?
Sir, I feel law and legal philosophy
Yes.
and constitutional philosophy,
Yes.
those understanding those things will really help in the kind of questions which are coming in ethics since last year. Last year also my performance in ethics was good enough, and I believe that because those questions test your understanding and thinking as a citizen, as an informed citizen only, and as law enables you with that, it provides you with that armor. So you can use articles, you can use some cases in
Yes.
starting some case
Some
studies,
landmark judgments.
some landmark judgments, and because majority of those cases are surrounding women empowerment or say disadvantaged sections, vulnerable sections. So apart from GS2, society, social justice,
Yes.
one can make profuse use of law in GS4 as well, in both the theory and the case studies.
I think also in essay, and other than essay, I think it also gives you sort of an additional help even in the interview. What do you think?
Sir, in essay 100%, because you have one dimension working for you, that is legalistic dimension, which I think can differentiate your answer to a certain
Yes.
extent when other
Yes.
people are writing their essays, and obviously giving that little bit of a mature edge to your essay, so that it helps with. And so with respect to interview, I believe that because as a bureaucrat you are expected to know about the law of the land, the legal developments, and as a legal professional you are confident about those developments, and once if you are put in a spot, it also equips you with the skill to come out of difficult situations, kind of. So along with the skill set, the kind of questions, balancing both, I think it does help in every aspect.
Okay, Priyanka, talking about your overall preparation with respect to current affairs. Everyone starts, with Hindu newspaper. How was your approach?
Sir, I believe that when I started preparing back in my 4th year, I was randomly looking for a medium where I can just get done with the newspaper in a solid manner. And that is how actually I got to know about Rao's IAS and their various programs, because I just randomly accessed the DNS video back then. And it was such a revelation for me, because very basic understanding of the subject along with linkage with the UPSC syllabus and PYQs. So one feels that one really gets to know about what is being expected of the exam. And so I believe that is the hallmark of DNS, because I think they started it first, because I did not know about much other media. There is a lot of things which are available right now, but back then that was one thing which I couldn't find anywhere, that syllabus bhi samajh aa ja raha hai and linkage bhi mil ja raha hai, prelims ke bhi kuch questions practice ho ja rahe hain and news bhi samajh aa ja rahi hai and pata bhi chal ja raha hai kya cheez exclude karna hai and nahi padhna hai. So it worked really well for me, and mujhe the kind of burden that would come with the Hindu newspaper, it got lessened to a larger extent. So I was very happy with that part. Ki newspaper to ho jayega, theek hai, I just have to do that and make notes out of it. So I did follow it for I think a year or 2 years, and then eventually I understood that also have to read the newspaper, balancing other things. So couldn't stick with that habit, though I wish I had, but I couldn't. But it did play a key role in my initial days of that.
And you're talking about guidance. How was your view with respect to the type of moral support or the guidance, whatever we could provide you throughout your preparation?
So it was immense actually. I still remember I got in touch with Rao's properly when I cleared prelims in my 4th attempt. And after that I got in touch with Jaikrit sir, and he played a solid role in analyzing my answer sheets. I remember still that around 11 p.m. he would sit with me on calls and sort of tell me कि इस आंसर में ये खराब है, इसको ऐसा लिखो, and he was very harsh, and I would not take that in the right spirit back then, but my results proved as to why he was that harsh. But I remember on the day of the results, a couple of days after that, I called him and I was very demotivated that sir, I don't think I can do it, and I should go back to law firm and all of that. And he was like, nahi pagal ho kya, you should definitely stick to this, and you should give it, and next time you'll get a really good rank, you mark my words. It was so motivating. And then I got in touch with you
Yes.
with respect to law optional, and you were also so motivating, and I felt like I finally have some direction. I just have to, buy it blindsiding everything else, and I think that is one of the main reasons why I think I could find success. And even throughout my mains journey also, in terms of sending me any important topic, important notes, or just providing pearls of wisdom or motivation that chill karo, everything will be fine, you're on the right track, and or even providing the most harshest criticism on my answer sheets, ye bahut kharab likha tha. So just a mixed bag, just the right
At times
mix.
that is necessary.
Yes,
also.
very necessary in fact. And I think those are the times that I think I hold really close to my heart, has played a really pivotal role in keeping me in the right track and reputation, that I could finally see my name in the holy PDF.
Okay, Priyanka, it was great having you, and congratulations again on behalf of Rao's IAS.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations to you. For
Much
your
gratitude
great
to
success.
Rao's IAS for the role that they have played.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
क्या बात है, बहुत ही अमेजिंग।